Councillor Carter. Thank you, Mr. Seidensticker. Changing the subject a great deal, I note that we have two of our members of the CRC who are sitting here in the audience this evening, David Bowers and Bill Hammer. David is here to make his report to the council from the CRC. I wanted to take a moment to just commend both of you. You're volunteers, like almost everybody else who serves on a board or commission in this community. You are volunteers, and I appreciate very much everything that you and your colleagues on CRC do. But what I want to point out is that not one of us sitting up here, not one of you sitting out there, would ever serve on a board or commission where you were forced to have one of your officers, meaning the treasurer of your board or commission, dictated to you, and that person be someone who absolutely was against the mission of what you were doing, who had no interest whatsoever in you succeeding. And that's got to be a very, very hard thing for you as volunteers, or for any of us as volunteers, to have to cope with. And I commend you for the patience you have had. I know that it's been problematic without staff and without the guidance of someone from a financial standpoint, because the CRC is, after all, a financial entity. And so there's a great deal of respect that you have for me for what you've been doing. With that said, let me just mention also that this morning in the 4CDC meeting, which is the Carmel City Center Community Development Corporation, the members of the corporation determined that even though I had said to the Clerk Treasurer's office last week that I would provide the Clerk Treasurer with an answer to the question she had posed to us some time ago pertaining to questions that came up in her work with the State Board of Accounts, that I would provide her with an answer to that letter. We determined, however, this morning that that was not going to be forthcoming. And the reason it was not going to be forthcoming is because of the fact that in the last week we have found from our counsel, from our legal counsel, that in order to provide the information that the Clerk Treasurer and her consultants have asked for, it's going to be a tremendous amount of money. We have already paid over $15,000 in legal fees in the last month and a half to our counsel to get them oriented to what we're doing on the 4CDC. I suspect that the cost to get the answer for what the Clerk Treasurer is asking for would be in the neighborhood of $50,000 to $60,000. I, as president of the 4CDC, am not prepared to provide those funds and to take money away from the development activities of the community to provide that information. I'm also not prepared to put our members of the 4CDC in a situation where we can't get a binding legal opinion on the material that we provide the Clerk Treasurer. Because if we don't have that, and someone decides to start an investigation against us personally, against what the Commission does, as Mr. Asaturo did last year, we cannot get our legal bills paid. And so there are a number of reasons that none of you would provide an opinion to the Clerk Treasurer in answer to the letter that she has provided us, and that's one of the main ones right there. So I want to make that clear that we are not providing that. We've already unanimously this morning not provide that, and we are concerned about what was proposed to us in the way of pretty wide open questions. Some questions could have been taken care of during the audit process, but we're not. And so we hope to move on from here. So thank you very much. Councillor Finken.
Thank you. Switching gears somewhat, I first want to say thank you to all those of you who came out to speak tonight, whether it be about coyotes or weapons.